Welcome. I'm so glad you're here. I'm Dr. Jonette, a physician. I teach people how to make simple lifestyle changes that can help prevent Alzheimer's dementia, as well as may contribute to longevity and a longer, healthier health span. Today I want to talk about another one of my pillars for longevity, the pillar of good nutrition. Good nutrition is so important for a healthy brain as well as a healthy body. And when we incorporate good, healthy grains, especially whole grains, into our diet, it helps our brain stay healthy. We now know from research that one of the contributing factors to cognitive decline and Alzheimer's dementia is inflammation in the brain. Inflammation in the brain destroys brain cells, but inflammation in the body can also contribute to chronic diseases like diabetes and heart disease. Inflammation is not all bad. In fact, acute inflammation is an important and good process within our body that helps our body recover from trauma. Inflammation is not all bad. Acute inflammation is a good process in our body. Acute inflammation helps our body recover and repair itself after it has been injured, whether that injury is a physical injury, like maybe a broken bone, or the injury caused by attack from a virus, a bacteria, like pneumonia, or even a toxic injury from something that's in our environment. When our body is injured, our immune system goes into motion and sets into motion a number of inflammatory pathways that then stop the damage that is happening and help initiate both the repair and the restoration of our body, our tissues, and our brain back to its normal, healthy state. The problem happens when that inflammatory pathway doesn't shut off after it has restored the body back to its normal state. Then we develop what's called chronic inflammation. In addition to that, sometimes there are things in our environment that our body isn't able to recognize as being okay or safe, and instead it identifies them. Our immune system identifies them as being harmful, so that when we encounter them in our food and our lungs, or however we encounter them, then our body initiates that inflammatory response to try to get rid of them. Now, here's the big problem with wheat. Wheat is one of the staples of our American diet. It's in so many of our foods. It's in our bread, our pastries, our cereals, and a lot of other things that are in our diet. If you are one of 16% Americans that is either allergic to wheat or sensitive to wheat or intolerant of wheat, then you are going to have a reaction that is going to make you feel just really lousy. It can be anything from fatigue, muscle aches, headaches, body aches, to actually life-threatening blood pressure drops, difficulty breathing, and in between to things like nausea, vomiting, and diarrhea. So if you go to your doctor and you aren't feeling well and you have some non-specific complaints, one of the things your doctor may recommend is that you try an elimination diet to look at whether or not some of the foods in your diet may be contributing to how you feel. And one of those big foods is wheat. So when you eliminate wheat from your diet, you may be wondering, what can I use instead of wheat? What is a non-inflammatory grain that I can incorporate into my diet instead of wheat, a whole grain that will help me stay healthy? Also, I wanted to mention that the problem with wheat is not the starch in wheat, but it's the protein in wheat, the protein, specifically gluten, or the component of that protein called gliadin. That is the problem with wheat. However, just eating a whole grain, which is the whole grain of wheat or bread or anything that has gluten in it, will create that chronic inflammation. So what can you put in your diet instead of gluten? If this has been informative so far, thank you for signing up for notifications. The 3 top things that I recommend you substitute for wheat in your diet are amaranth, buckwheat, and quinoa. These 3 whole grains are actually not true grains. They're actually pseudo-grains. However, they have been dubbed honorary grains by the Whole Grain Society. The reason they're pseudo-grains is that they're biologically different than your true grains. It doesn't really matter from the perspective of your body. Your body will not activate an inflammatory response in your body. Let's start with amaranth. Amaranth is what's considered or called an ancient grain. An ancient grain is exactly what it sounds like. A grain that's been around a long time. It's been around since antiquity. In the case of amaranth, that would be 8,000 years. But in addition to it being ancient or around a long time, it's also called ancient because it has never been genetically modified. The grain that we grow today, called amaranth, is genetically very similar to that amaranth that was grown 8,000 years ago, genetically. Amaranth is good for you because it's not only anti-inflammatory, it also has a lot of protein as well as multiple vitamins and minerals that are good for your brain and good for your body. The next grain is buckwheat. Now you may be thinking, buckwheat, wheat is in the name of buckwheat. However, buckwheat does not have any wheat. So it is also a pseudo-grain, and it is a good grain to incorporate into your diet if you are eliminating wheat from your diet, or even if you aren't, if you just want some additional whole grains in your diet. Buckwheat is good because it is very high in protein, but also high in fiber. Fiber helps with digestion. It helps prevent constipation. It keeps that food moving through your digestive system. And fiber also is food for the good, healthy bacteria in your gut so that they can communicate with your brain and help your brain keep your body healthy. The third food that you can incorporate into your diet or substitute for wheat if you eliminate wheat is quinoa. Quinoa is also a pseudo-grain, but it's also a superfood. Superfoods are those foods that have super properties for brain and body health. In other words, in the case of quinoa, the reasons it's a superfood is that it contains all 9 essential amino acids. Essential amino acids are those building blocks for protein that your body cannot make. There are 21 amino acids that your body needs in order to build all the protein that it makes. And it can't make 9 of those building blocks. So you have to get them from your diet, from your food. And quinoa will provide your body with all 9 of those essential amino acids. In addition, all 3 of these 3 wheat substitutes also contain vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants. So incorporate them in your diet today. When you go to my website, growwithdrjonette.com, and click on the anti-inflammatory grains blog, scroll down and I have included as part of that blog some basic, simple, easy recipes for how you can make some delicious, healthy foods and incorporate these grains into your diet. Thank you for watching. also for signing up for notifications. And when you sign up for notifications, you will be notified when I post my next How to Prevent Alzheimer's Disease video. You don't want to miss any of these videos if you're concerned about cognitive decline, dementia, or if you just want to live a long, healthy life. We'll see you next time on the Dr. Jonette channel.